Hi everyone, welcome to the live streaming for the student review for our latest design challenge, the Type and Color Challenge, where I challenged you guys to produce at least a series of 3 different projects where it involved both typography and it involved both some kind of dramatic background or photography or design, and kind of combining that with a color theme. So this is kind of my little set that I put together. I was able to kind of post it in Instagram as kind of a series, and that was a pretty good hit. So it was really nice for my Instagram account to grow it. So anyone who did a project, I encourage you to post it on Instagram or Behance or wherever you kind of post your kind of daily design inspirations for other people to follow you. So I'm going to give everybody about a minute to come online. So I'm just going to kind of stall a little bit for about 2 or 3 minutes. I'm going to pull it up on my other screen so I can be able to respond to questions throughout the live streaming. So let me go ahead and refresh my other computer here, see if I've not gone live yet. Here I am. Okay, so now I can see your questions. Please say hi if you're here. You do about another 2 minutes, so I'll just go over kind of some latest projects I've been working on. I've been really hanging out a lot on Adobe XD. So let me go ahead and open Adobe XD. I'm doing low fidelity wireframes. I'm getting ready to launch a class next week on Udemy, and it's going to come out in bits and pieces on Skillshare about UX UI design. Not only the theory, but also talking about how to walk through the entire process from getting it from a concept, an idea, testing it, and getting it to low fidelity, and then eventually a polished design. So as you can see, this is a low fidelity wireframe, so it's really blocky, doesn't have color. There's not a lot of action to it, but it really helps set the stage for doing a polished version. So I'll go ahead and show you kind of the finished version of this app that we're going to be doing in the class. So it's pretty fun. I'm going to go ahead and just do a little preview here, a little teaser. So that's kind of the front. And you can log in with Facebook. You can, and we determined this by doing UX UI design. We went through all the stages to figure out what options should we get users, why are we putting buttons here, what's the overall user flow, just some really fun stuff. So you can go on restaurant, and all this you'll be able to kind of do in the class. So it's pretty fun, really kind of fallen in love with Adobe XD over the last month or two. And you can even do little animations. So when I click on add to bag, you can see the bag kind of changes, so you can have little animations and different state changes. So it's pretty fun. So anyway, enough of that. I'm going to go back into one more thing. Let's see who's live. If you're live, say hi if you're live. And while I'm waiting for more students to join, I just launched the UX UI design process on Skillshare. I'm going to eventually launch this on Udemy, but it's available. This is a theory class, so no software knowledge is required. It's all about the UX process. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. I'd love for you to check it out, and any of my other classes on Skillshare and Udemy. And one last thing, and we'll get to the fun part of reviewing all the projects you guys did. I'd love a review if you've taken any of my classes on Udemy or Skillshare. I love reviews. It keeps me going. It keeps me excited to hear what you guys think and to hear some of the ways the classes have helped you out in your graphic design journey. So anyway, so let's get to the fun part. I'm going to go ahead and pop into Photoshop and go over some of these. So let me just kind of, I was working on another project here, trying to figure out another color to do. But I kind of ran out of colors there at the end, so I'm glad the challenge is over. All my names are really long, and I did this turquoise and realized, wow, this was such a good challenge with these longer names to really try to play around with typography with those longer color names. So hi Samantha. Yay. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin. I had so many people, so many of you guys submitted an awesome project. So look, all of these folders are full of different projects. So I'm going to go a little bit faster. Last time it was an hour and a half, which I think might have been a little too long, but it was a really good hour and a half with you guys. So I'm going to try to keep it at 45 minutes or less. And if we have time for a little impromptu Q&A session, I'd love to take questions, general questions about freelancing or graphic design if we have a little bit of time. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on each person's project. I'm going to try to move a little bit quicker and focus on pieces that we could talk about and have some, some positive critiques. And once again, this is subjective. A lot of this is artistic artwork. So it's really hard to say you need to do this better when art is in the eye of the beholder. It's very subjective. It's a little bit different than our last few projects, which were very client-based work. So last project we did a branding work. It was very easy to come up with, constructive criticism. And with this is a little bit more artistic. So I'm not going to focus as much on how good it is, but on maybe ways to improve certain things like shadow and using certain design tools to enhance kind of your work instead of saying, well, this is a bad piece or this is a great piece. So anyway, spiel is over. Let's get started. I'm going to do alphabetical order, but starting in reverse. So I'm going to start with Voss. That's your little nickname now. Instead of saying your whole name, you said that last time. You want to be called Voss. So we're going to start with you. You're going to kick it off. And we're going to go through some of these. What I'm going to do is open all of these in Photoshop and go one by one. And we'll see if that takes too long. Then we'll just kind of go through in the viewfinder. So let's go ahead and kick it off. So we have Voss here. He has his red. So a lot of you guys did kind of the primary colors. And some of you guys went crazy and did all sorts of cool colors like coral, which is the color, the Pantone color of the year, living coral, and turquoise and all these other colors. So I love how you guys chose a wide variety. So this one's really neat. It kind of has a little bit of an overlay here, and it kind of shines through a little bit better here with the outline. So I'm going to kind of go through these quick, and when there's one I really want to focus on, I'll just spend a little bit more time on it. So there's blue, and there's 2 Facebook groups participating, so you might not have seen everybody's work that you're seeing. And this was an original one that he had. I know he said he didn't have a lot of time, so he did the updated one. And then green. So I kind of like how he did the circle. He did a blending mode in Adobe Photoshop, or it could have been in Adobe Illustrator, and had a circle and did probably an overlay or a luminosity blending mode, which can be accessed in your layers panel. So if you definitely check out blending modes, you'll see blending modes used a lot throughout all these projects. So I really like this green. I like kind of the circle and how it kind of really encapsulates the green. So let's kind of move on quickly with projects. Okay, so we have this one right here. Let's go ahead and open this one up. Let's look at these. So this one's green. And when I was starting to do different projects, I would focus on a color, let's say, for example, green. But what I thought was a really cool juxtaposition, to use a fancy word, is I would incorporate a little blue or a little pop of red somewhere to make it not just using red, but that red was the boldest color piece, but you didn't have to be so restricted and just stay with green. So I like how the green is popping out over here. Really good job doing either layering masks. This probably looks like it's done with layering masks. And they did layering masks probably in Adobe Photoshop and painted over with a black brush to be able to erase certain areas to make it look like you have this overlaying effect, a layered effect where you have it on top, but you also have it on the bottom, and it just looks like it's really exploding out of the green. So I wanted to focus on this one because I really liked it. And also as we're going throughout this, if there's one you like, say, hey, I like it, or yes, because I want to vote for who you thought was the best project at the very end. Kind of just have not a winner, but kind of someone who had an outstanding project. This is really neat how they took the eye and they made it kind of smoke out like that. That's really neat. I did white, and I had a hard time doing white I just had a challenge with it. So I'm so glad you incorporated some black to have that contrast to really bring out the white colors. I know with mine, I think that was my mistake. Mine was too low contrast, and you couldn't really tell. Well, you couldn't really see it as good like this. Hi, another person live just saying hey. Okay, so green. Okay, let's go. Gray. This is really neat. I love how they're doing the layering masks to give the layered effect, and that looks really good, the smoke coming over the G. So that's really well done. Green, red. Look at that. That's neat. I like that. I like how the lipsticks go. So really good practicing with your layers and your layering mask. Ooh, this one's really artistic. I like the geometric shape of the this little object here in the background. I don't know if you did that or if you got this from a website like apexels.com, but that's really interesting. So moving on to the next person. So we got a lot of people to go through. All right, so this one, so we have blue. So you'll see a lot of blending modes used throughout this kind of series. There's blue, red. I like this. I like how red's cut. And what's neat is they have this kind of cut background, and they were able to kind of bring that out in the typography as well. They're able to kind of take this element that's in the background and bring it into the typography somehow by having that effect. They even did a little drop shadow to give more distance between the two layers so they look like they're not just on top of each other, but they're behind each other. So that's really neat. Green, so kind of practicing the 3D effect. What I might do, let me go ahead and get my brush tool so I could start making some suggestions. Let's get a very small brush size. That's too big. Really small. Okay. So what I might do is practice with perspective a little bit. So you're kind of having this, you might want to draw a little 3D cube. It might help you with perspective to kind of draw this a little bit more in line because it looks like it goes up a little bit, but that's just really, really minor. But the fact that you added shadows here and this is lighter really gives a 3D effect without ever having to actually make it 3D. So that's pretty neat. And I would do the same here too, make that a little bit darker on this right side. Okay, let's keep going. So Sean, thank you for putting all yours together. I just have to open up one document, so that's very nice. So maybe next time we'll have everybody put it together. So he used, I forgot what tool he used. Was it Cinema 4D? He actually posted, if you go back to his post on the Learn Graphic Design, Go Freelance page, if you go to that group and you look at his post, he actually posted a tutorial on how he did the 3D effect. I think it was Cinema 4D, not sure, but he used a 3D program to create, he did it in Photoshop and he brought it into a 3D program to give it the 3D element and the really realistic shading. So you see this E right here, how realistic that shading is. There's no way you can do that manually. So it's really nice to have a 3D tool that you know that you can be able to bring in a 2D object, make it 3D. That is huge right now. 3D is huge. I love using Adobe Dimensions, but that's not really a full-on 3D program. That's really great for doing mock-ups. So Cinema 4D is on my list of things to learn. The only reason I'm not learning it now is it's very expensive to have. So there's other ones like Cheetah, but I think that's a Mac program that's really expensive, if not free, 3D editing program. But I think that's definitely should be on your radar, 3D. So this is an excellent job. I don't know, which one's your favorite? If you can pick your favorite, which one would you like? I don't know, this green, that's pretty darn creative. How it twists and how you have the E's face each other. This is really cool. And he did a gold one that's really neat that I wish he posted, but excellent job. This is probably one of my favorites, Sean, so excellent. Okay, Samantha, are you live? You're live. You're on here, so you get your live critique. So feel free to ask questions as I review. Is this the one from, oh, I really love this one. Okay, so great. I really love the use of textures. So I'm just going to start at the first one that popped up. So this is the colors of Mexico. They kind of did this cool hashtag, and I love the typography here. That is a really neat right here. I don't know what type you used or if you customized it in any way, but it just flows so beautifully. If I go ahead and zoom in, you can kind of see how this of is perfectly tucked in this empty white space there, and it just hugs, the typography hugs each other, but it's not too close. It's just perfect. So I really love that colors in Mexico. And you did a blending mode here to kind of overlap the type, so it just wasn't just boring type. You kind of had this little overlapping effect. I don't know where you find your photography, but it's really beautiful and colorful. Really brought out that lime color, and I believe you added this on top as well. So that's really cool. So I wanted to spend a little time on this one because I love the use of textures here, of overlay. You can see the textures over top. And this is beautiful here. That almost looks like it's on the wall itself. So that is a beautiful texture right here on that wall. So just so rich, you can really just see Mexico. I mean, it really just, it could be a campaign for the Mexico tourism campaign. I just think it's really beautiful. Oh, it's your own lettering. Wow, that's neat. I'm even more impressed. So that's really neat. How did you do the lettering? Did you do it in Procreate? Did you draw it with a Wacom? Did you trace it? Oh, it's Montserrat font. Okay, for the typeface for the other one. Okay. Cool. So once again, kind of keeping with a theme. She has a theme. She's keeping consistent with it throughout the piece, which is nice. They feel like a unified series. And look at this butterfly. Look at that. Look how she overlapped this city of Mexico. I don't know if it's Mexico City or another city, but that's really neat how they kind of did this right here. That's beautiful. So these are kind of more functioning as a piece of art. And I think that's kind of the future of design, where we're fusing more organic kind of textures and feeling into our design and making them more rich, making them look more like fun, exciting art pieces and less like, I'm selling a service. So really neat use. Wow, this is beautiful. Have you seen the movie Coco? I have little kids, so I see lots of Pixar type movies. But this kind of reminds me of the colors of that movie, that kind of bright pinks and then kind of the purples too. So okay, so I really love this one. Look at that. I just love just kind of the combination of these colors. Oh, this one's neat. I really, really like this one. I'm guessing you added kind of this texture to the car. I don't know if that's originally part of the photo, but if not, I really love that as an addition that you did. This is really beautiful. I can just see kind of the aqua, tranquil waters too, just kind of when I look at these colors. Cool. That's one of my favorites. Really enjoyed that one. So thank you, Samantha. And we have another Samantha with another oops, I'm opening up an Illustrator. Huh. Don't want to do that. Hold on. Let me pop it into Photoshop. Okay, so she had it on Instagram, so I took a little snapshot of her Instagram. So I like this blue coming through. I almost didn't see it at first. So you can maybe do a bolder typeface here so that it can show up a little bit better. But I do love the curves of this. I do like kind of this movement with the wave. I think that is spot on. I just think maybe making it a little bit bolder or making it, kind of pop out a little bit more at me. But I love the subtlety. It's kind of nice. Okay, we have a bee here. So once again, kind of making sure that yellow kind of pops out. And I know you're trying to be subtle, but just kind of maybe removing the texture and kind of keeping it simple or solid might help in this case, kind of fight with the photo, not fight with it, but kind of complement the photo a little better. Okay, and then red, this is nice. Yeah, I like your photo choice and everything. This is really good composition. And it's tucked really nicely in the space too. It's not coming up against a leaf or anything. It's got enough breathing room. It feels really nice. So the position of this is lovely. So Samantha, the next Samantha did good as well. Hi, Sean. I see ya. I just reviewed your project. Hopefully you didn't miss it. I did it in the very beginning. Okay, and Ria. I think I said that right. Ria. Let's open up her project. Okay, so blue. So I find this interesting. I would almost wonder if you can maybe add a little bit more blue into the background piece. So perhaps having some other kind of blue element here to kind of complement the blue color here. But I like the composition of this piece in terms of kind of the subject matter, but maybe tweaking those colors. And somehow the blue really competes with you have this beautiful piece. I'd almost have blue either faded in the background a little bit bigger, or maybe having it coming in a vertical space and then have your subject matter here, because that's a beautiful subject matter. And I wouldn't want this to fight with each other so much that it looked busy. But I liked your kind of composition of your thing. So here's pink. Yellow. Wow, that is yellow. What I find is the hardest color to use in design, it's yellow, because it's so strong. It is so powerful. So you could tell when you make a background all yellow, it's definitely grabs your attention. So if that's what you're needing to do in a design piece, yellow is your friend. But you can also overuse yellow. But I do like it in this case. I would almost make this instead of green. It almost looks like it was an accident. What I would do is kind of make this either white or punch it out of the photo, just so you don't have the green, because green and yellow are so close, they kind of fight with each other. But I like this overall composition. I like this background graphic. It's really neat. Okay, moving right along. Olga. So Olga is next. I think she was one of the first ones to post a project. So black, she had two versions, one where the type was black and I couldn't see it very well. So I'm glad she ended up choosing the white, because I think that works really good. This looks like a custom typeface that she might have done, and I really like that. So I don't know if she's live now. But beautiful photo of the dog. I think that's a nice photo. Okay. So white, there's white. I had a hard time with white. I really did. I don't know why. You think white would be easy, but you know, it's hard to have contrast when you have white. Red. Ooh, I like this. I like how kind of you have something divided here. That's interesting. That's interesting. I like how they punched it out too. That's red. Pink. Ooh, I like kind of how you have a reverse pink here. That's lovely. You have this interesting kind of zigzag texture, kind of almost like it's ripped up. So once again, when I'm reviewing these, I mean, I know that art, it's a little more artistic rather than, you know, this is a logo where I can pick it apart. You know, I'm not going to pick apart some of these because it's art. You know, it's hard to critique art sometimes. Art is beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but I do think this is just has a very wonderful, soft feeling. I just feel kind of calm when I look at this. And I love the type choice. I think the spacing between the typeface is nice. Okay, blue. Ooh, I like this kind of effect you have with the triangle. Almost looks like a neon light. And you can do that effect in Photoshop by having the shape and then you add a new shape on top of it and you blur it. You do like a Gaussian blur and then you do an overlay blending mode, like maybe overlay blending mode, and it can give you that neon light effect. So just for those interested in that. What would be really neat is if you had it go in and out. So right now this is on top of the E and this is on top of the B. But what if you had this on top of the B, but this under the B? So maybe the E came over here, so it looked like the triangle was going in one side and out the other, so it had a kind of really neat interaction with the blue typeface. And since this is such a clean line, I would almost choose a sans serif typeface or something really simple to play on this very clean neon shape. Thank you, Olga. Don't know if you're on there. Hi, Shady. Okay, so Samantha, who's next? We did Olga. Okay, Neil. Neil, my biggest poster. He got really excited about this project. He ended up doing probably 20 colors. So here's kind of his entire series. What I wanted to focus on, I'm going to only open up a few because I don't have time to review them all, but there was a couple here that really stood out to me. So I'm just going to have everybody kind of look at this entire series. I'm not going to be able to get to each one, but there's one in particular that I fell in love with. Let me see if I can open it. Well, that one's really neat. I love the ones where he took the Renaissance artwork, which is public domain, by the way, if you certain Renaissance type photos, are, so you can use it without any issues. So it depends. You might want to check. But where is it? Where's my favorite? It was gold. Let me see. Maybe for some reason it didn't end up. Well, maybe we'll look at it here. But this is my favorite right here. Gold. Look at that. That's awesome. Isn't that awesome, that photo? The way the piece goes over the gold here, but you could still read the gold typography. This is beautiful, just the way that it's cut out, the balance, how you have this kind of upward action movement in this piece. And there's just enough spacing here between the edge. It doesn't feel like it's too tight or close to the edge. I think that's wonderful, wonderful job. And a couple of these, I can just open ones that look pretty interesting. So here's Indigo. And I love how he did the fog over the lettering. It's pretty neat. Indigo. Lime was fun. That's really bright. Wow, that is bright. That's nice. You got the little bubbles in the M. So he did kind of a text overlay, or a, what do you call it? Clipping mask. He did a clipping mask. Yeah, pink. Yeah, pink's my favorite too, Samantha. Look at that. That is stunning. Good job, Niels. That is awesome. See how the pink kind of wraps around her, but the eye goes behind him. And look at the arm coming out here over the K. That's brilliant. I might even do, because this is such a beautiful, simple piece, I might even do maybe one or two less of these little diagonal lines. I do like the one here. So maybe make one big kind of more diagonal line and not have as many to kind of keep it a little more simple because it's already such a beautiful, stunning piece of artwork. And I love how you messed around with this. And it almost looks like it has texture here. So you must have did kind of a transparency or blending mode to kind of bring in that texture from the artwork onto the typography. So it's not just a solid type, it's got that texture to it. So I'm a big fan of texture. So you'll probably see when I did mine, I used a lot of texture, a lot of grittiness. I would add noise. If you go to Photoshop and you go up to filter, I love doing this. I like to add noise. If you go to filter, add noise, I just like to add a little bit of noise, and it gives it this graininess. See how this grain, you can do too much very easily, but I like to just use a little bit of that effect, and I think it really adds a richness to otherwise simple shapes. And there's blue, green, orange, purple, red. So yeah, I really like the pink, and I love that gold. So go check his work out. His whole series is on the Facebook page to take a look. All right, Mohammed, let's go ahead and open up his. Okay, so here's black. It looks like it could be a little stretched. Well, almost looks like the type was changed originally. Let me go ahead and grab this. Looks like it's stretched a little bit horizontally, so just kind of double check that it could just be the way it's looking on the screen. But I do like kind of how you practice the overlay. It's one image all the way through down, and it's just cut out with a clipping mask. Here's yellow. I kind of like the idea that you used purple here because it really brings out the yellow car. It really helps it go bam. It really pops out at you. And I kind of like how the type is going behind the car, but yet I can still read that it's yellow. So there's no problem with readability. Okay, so let's go ahead and close this one down. So I like this one a lot. Yeah, I would definitely work on the making sure it doesn't look stretched, the type. Red, very simple. Pink. And so what I love about this, I'm not the biggest fan of this type, but that's okay. But I think it works okay here. But I love how they kind of have this flower coming in and out. So you see how this line goes behind the flower and this one goes above. It just has a really nice overall balance and structure. And it has really one nice center focal point. There's not like one thing over here, one thing over here. There's just, he committed to one center focal point, and that's what I really appreciate about this one. Okay, brown. I might kind of, script type is really hard to use with wide spacing, especially all caps. So I usually, when I have a script font, I like to keep a tighter spacing here and not have the wide gaps because it just seems disconnected. So there's something about script type that just has that characteristic. So I would tell you to tighten the spacing or maybe choose a typeface that can stand wider apart. The characters can stand wider apart from each other like a sans serif. So there's brown. Cool. So I really appreciated all of those. Wow, we're getting almost halfway through now. So we're just like blazing through. Mercedes. Let me do Mercedes. Let's see. Wow, we're already at a half hour. Okay. So she did something similar like the pink in the last project that Mohammed did. Kind of this beautiful focal point. This is really lovely. Let me go ahead. This is a beautiful photo. Let me zoom in a little bit more on it. That's crisp, high resolution. I love a nice, crisp, high resolution photo. And she did a good job cutting this flower out. That's very intricate cutout work. So she did a really great job getting that cut out of the original photo. Beautiful. So this is just a nice, clean presentation, nice, clean typography. I might close the gap a little bit here, maybe put the P here, just a little bit to kind of match the distance you have here between the R and the flower. And if anybody has any questions or wants to make a comment, comments are awesome. So just feel free to say, hey, I like that, I don't like that. Just kind of be open and honest. So green, I like this. I like kind of this zigzag. And what I would do is anytime you kind of do this kind of zigzag pattern, sometimes it's nice to maybe have the G maybe tuck near the R, so it just kind of feels like one unit. Maybe have the E tuck here. You don't have to have it touch, but just kind of having a tighter connection point helps it feel as one unit. So it kind of makes it a little bit more concise. You could even try a thinner weight. Since you have such a very simple background photo, you can get away with a thinner weight. It might look a little elegant that way, or a little bit more delicate, but I really like the overall composition. Okay, one more for Mercedes. I like this photo of the red fish that really captures red. I think you maybe even have an opportunity to make this red since you have a very simple background. You might be able to make red, the typeface red too. You usually can't do that with a crazy background, but since you have a very simple background, I think you might be able to get away with that. but that's a beautiful photo. You cut out photos, excellent skill. I know you just recently did one that featured a space background that looked really neat. So I think you got some photo manipulation skills there. So thank you, Mercedes, for doing a project. Now I'm starting to lose track because there's so many projects now. Okay. Oh, I love this series. I love this series a lot. I think this might be one of my favorite series. So this is black. So this is really neat. I love kind of this type going on here. I don't know how much of this is custom and how much is not. So if you ever wanted to post later on and kind of show what your process was, what you used, whether you did this typography work together here, but this is incredibly artistic, incredibly creative right here. That's beautiful. What do you guys think? That's neat. I almost would expect this typeface to be used here because this is almost looks like I'm not going to say Comic Sans because that's an insult, but kind of like a childlike chalkboard kind of font. But if you use this really cool font here, a little bit thicker, almost like a thick marker, I think it would connect better if you use the same typeface that you use down there. I don't know what you guys think about that. But yeah, this is a really strong series. This is yellow, and this is really neat. I love this background and this little geometric shape, and this little distort here, kind of hiding from you, but still there, still readable. This purple is really beautiful, and I love the juxtaposition of the pink background paired with the yellow. So it's just kind of got that yellow streak. So there's yellow. Oh, this is neat. So I don't know what 3D program they used, but I'm really digging this 3D popping out, kind of melting into the ground or whatever you want to call it. But this is really neat, these kind of bends and curves that are there. And it's hard for me to draw with red, but you can kind of take a look at it. This is probably my favorite in his series. I'm telling you, 3D, you got to know 3D. If you look at behance.com, which is one of the bigger websites to check out designers' work, you'll see one common theme, and it's 3D, 3D, 3D. Everybody's incorporating 3D elements. They're even turning the 3D into motion GIFs and things like that. So motion and 3D, there are definitely kind of future themes that designers definitely need to kind of be aware of. And blue. I don't know, is that blue, BLU. And then, yeah, okay. I really look at this. I love this, this way this is cut in half. So this got a really nice balance to it. So you have this kind of nice open white space, and then you have the type here. It's just a beautiful balance and composition. It's really well done. There's nothing that's overwhelming me. It's just very calming and very clean. It's just a beautiful image. So this is really well done. And I can tell they even probably took the liquify tool and kind of had a little bit of a liquify texture to the typeface, which was really clever. So yeah, that was one of my favorite that was submitted, one of my favorite projects. Okay, we have, I think 10 left. This one was interesting. So I think this could set off a little bit of a debate. They kind of took it kind of a literal like color definition, like black and white. I think they had a yellow. I just decided not to include I didn't want to offend anybody, so I didn't include the yellow. But I think these would make good, interesting pieces, like if you talked about race, if you had a campaign that talked about race equality and things like that, this could be kind of a striking image for that. So I thought that would be interesting. But you never want to be offensive either. So it's always this really delicate balance of, you never want to be, offensive, but you also want to, so it's just kind of a careful kind of line that you follow as a designer to make sure you're bringing it up with a positivity in mind and kind of a positive effect on the world. So anyway, that's my little spiel. But so I think this is interesting in terms of the design. I think it's a really cool kind of way that they use the blending modes. And with blending modes, you can sometimes they can have harsh effects, like if you use certain blending modes, kind of maybe softening some of that a little bit. But interesting take. What I would do here is I wouldn't cut the eye out. I would just let this kind of cover her eye, because it looks a little strange with her eye cut out, because it's like, why is it just her eye cut out? I know the effect you're kind of going for, but what I would do is just not worry about it. Go ahead and cover that eye up. And same thing, see how that goes through. Just go ahead and kind of have it overlap. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next one. Do, do, do. Wow, so many projects. Maybe next time I'll have you guys put it all on one image so we can all look at it as one image. So yellow. So that'd be neat if that was a balloon, but it had the O in yellow. That's kind of neat. Yellow. So it's kind of the way it flows is interesting because when you read a word, you go yellow. So you kind of have that weird whoosh. You might want to do yellow. You might want to have the O here so that it kind of reads, instead of having to jump over here to read the O, you're kind of reading the word a little bit more tighter, if that makes any sense. Because right now it kind of is like yellow. You almost wonder, is it spelled right? But the idea is definitely there. So I kind of like the overall idea. Just kind of working on the execution a little bit. And you have blue here, so you kind of have this faded kind of mist, I guess. What you could do is maybe take the brush tool, maybe clone some of this water and do like a blending mode or transparency, maybe get a little fluff, maybe some fog. So instead of having it look like it's cut in half, maybe it's foggy and maybe it's a little bit more organic in the way it covers up the U and the E. Okay, and red, that's neat. I love it when you take an opportunity to make it look like it's interacting with the typeface. And then silver. Wow, that is interesting. Silver gray. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next project. Thank you so much for doing a project work. I really liked all of those. Kind of continuing to practice all those tools you have in Photoshop or even Illustrator, whatever you use to put that together. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So black, so that's black, white, blue. Ooh, I like blue. It's different than the other two. This is nice. I don't know if you did this as a custom illustration or you found it, but this works really well together. Just the typeface choice, the type choice, and the style of illustration matches. So that looks lovely together. Brown, okay. Gray, I like kind of this open type. Interesting. I'd probably maybe do some kind of open type here to make sure that has a little more definition of the G. And then red. Okay, excellent. Okay, moving on. Let's see, I think it's so cute. Love the blue here too. Okay, that's okay if you didn't participate because I try to do a challenge every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. I try to have a challenge. So if you don't miss this challenge, just hop on the next one. So purple, interesting. Interesting type choice. I wonder what typeface that is. I usually don't like combining, like see how you have the L here? You need to have some indication of where the L, I don't mind combining them, but sometimes when it comes to L's, if they don't have like another kind of angle coming out, sometimes it's hard to really tell. It just looks like a different, like a really tall R instead of an R and an L. So I might even just add a little separation there for that piece. I'm just moving a little bit quicker. I don't mean to go too fast, but ooh, that's interesting. That's a very interesting composition. Very artistic, very cool. I like the overlay mode here. I like the typeface. The type and the position of the type is perfect. That right there, that's really good. Okay, moving on. Why? Ooh, that's cool. Who likes that one? Look at that. It's right there in the snow. Good job. Excellent. So they look like they could have done the white and like using the 3D tools in Photoshop, perhaps. And they were able to angle and maybe use layering mask to kind of cut out where it sits on the snow. That's great. Good job. Excellent. Look at that. I love it. Yellow. Whoa. See, once again, yellow. Yellow is strong. It doesn't matter how you use it. Yellow is strong. So, wow. What I might do here is maybe simplify and do maybe this typeface in a different, like maybe white. And you don't need to have 2 yellows or 3 yellows. You could probably, since the background is so busy, you might be able to just get away with 1 yellow. And then, yeah, it's a black, interesting typeface. I almost can't tell where the B kind of is. So I maybe form some definition there of the curves of the B, and make sure you maybe have some wider gaps for your B. But this is really interesting. I would even put this on a black background or like a really light gray so that you really focus on the black. It would make it really kind of more of the mood or tone of black, because the color makes it all happy and then the black is like dark lava, and it's like, whoa, that's a really strange combination of like rainbows and lava, things exploding. So kind of getting the mood of the piece all together. And then blue, I like that. It's real simple, real simple. It's nice. Okay, almost done. Almost done. I cannot sing. Okay, opening up. Oh, this is cool. This is a great series as well. Okay, and I think you're live. I think I saw your name live. I think you're live. Okay, so if you're here, you could hear me live. All right, so this is really neat. You know what I almost thought this was at first was I love Legos. I grew up playing Legos, and I thought it was a bunch of Lego heads at first. I got really excited. But I think this is really neat how you're overlapping here. And I would just be careful. It looks like it's a little bit transparent here. I still see the little line of the L. So I'm being incredibly picky, but overall this is really cool. And I love the black type with the yellow. Super high contrast. I really see it right away and it works really well. So who loves this one? I love this one. So of this series, let me know as you see these. I think this is one of my favorite series. Let me know what you think is your favorite. So that was yellow. Okay, this is black. And I should have done that from the beginning, but this is really neat. Look at that typeface. Just look at that. Look at this line. So interesting. I like that. It really makes it a unique typeface. It's not too busy. It's clean. The spacing is nice. The thinness or the weight of the type is nice. I love this type of K. I'm a big fan of the type of K instead of having a K that does this. I really love Ks that do this. It just looks cool, doesn't it? And it really helps to define the K. It's just a style thing, I just like it. So there's black. Gold, look at that. Look at that. I love how they really brought the gold out here in the leaf. And the type is really interesting, and it's got a good balance. It's not too big. It's not overwhelming the piece. A very detailed background. I would just be careful here to make sure when you brush on, you did an overlay. You probably did a new layer in Photoshop and did an overlay brush and then painted it with a brown tan color. But I would be careful to cover up these spots here. Make sure you kind of trace around it a little better. You can always use the eraser tool to, if you go over the edge, and erase it back. Very small issue, but when you zoom out, you can't tell that bad. But I like this one as well. And then pink. Ooh, interesting. I think you could probably even get away with making this pink because it's a very simple background, so you might be able to get away with it. And then white. So definitely using those blending modes and clipping masks to kind of create this effect. Or this is really double exposure. I've been really getting into double. If you follow me on Instagram, I've been posting a lot of double exposures. I think it's a fun thing to practice. And it's really quick to do something neat when you do double exposure, which is really just putting 2 layers in Photoshop, 2 images, and doing a couple of different blending mode options to have them kind of cut each other out with the blending modes. Yeah, great photography choices too. I agree, Samantha. Okay. Alrighty. Emily. So she just got her project in just under the wire or under the gun. I'm not sure how you say that. Under the wire, under the gun. Right on the whatever. She got it in just on time. I love the hashtag. Cool. Love the typeface of the hashtag. Look, I even noticed this little detail. See, they added shadow right here. See that? Boom. Adds kind of a 3D look to that the. It helps the stand out as a separate word. That little bit of shadow there. Brilliant. So I really like this, and it's a series, so you can really see hers. I wish I could show hers all at once, but it works really well as a series when you see them all together because you see the theme throughout. And so you have orange, That's nice. Like I love it. I just love this. That's wonderful typeface. And then green. And so you notice how she stays with her theme with the E's, kind of having the lines. They don't have the stem down here. They kind of stay consistent. And I like how the E's kind of come together. I would even just get rid of these little two elements. Probably don't even need them. I think it looks good just like that. And maybe eliminating one of these lines, but keeping the bar down at the bottom. But really cool photo, really great. Notice how the type kind of hugs the subject matter. Isn't that nice? Just like that. Yeah, these do look like they could be flyers at a zoo. Totally. This could be a zoo campaign. And let's close that down. And I think we just have a few more left. Okay, Dozier. I don't think I said your name right. Okay, so black. Wow, whoa. That's a lot going on there. I like how you're playing around with how things overlap and overlay each other. I would try to find a way to simplify this piece a little bit so it doesn't overwhelm anybody. I do like the idea of this tree there, though, so kind of continue to play with that. But perhaps the tree and the little crystal type shapes might be a little bit too much at this point. But I really like your idea of using the tree, though, so continue to just think about simplifying a piece, because sometimes less is more. Let's keep going. So yellow, this is interesting. I'm not the biggest fan of the typeface used here. That's okay. But I like kind of this intersecting shape. I don't know what shape it is, but it's really interesting. Kind of messing around with blending modes a little bit. Okay, green. There's green and brown. Brown's hard, isn't it? I had a hard time with brown. I ended up doing coffee for my brown. I think it turned out well. But I just focused on food a lot because it just seemed like other things was tough. But you did a good job making brown look a little more exciting. I would just get rid of these little bars. Maybe do something else artistically, because I think the background looks kind of cool with the kind of the brown mud. So very cool. Okay, let's move on quickly. White. Wow, that's interesting. I wonder if they did the background themselves, because if so, that's kind of neat. What do you guys think? Red. I like that, kind of the circle. I would maybe close the gap here, maybe not have it be quite as disconnected, but I like this background image used. Sorry, I'm moving quick. I'm just trying to get through everything so I can have some Q&A time with you guys. Green, green. You got the drop shadow down here. It's interesting. You might be able to add a little bit of, use the dodge tool and maybe go on and kind of darken certain areas of the grass to make it maybe look a little bit more, because you have a drop shadow, so you're already kind of bringing it into the 3D element there a little bit with the drop shadow. You can even add little shadows and highlights in the photo to kind of make it a little bit more 3D effect. Blue, there's blue, simple blue. Okay. Ooh, I like this. I like the diamonds. I'm a sucker for diamonds. That's beautiful. I kind of like how you have them overlaying here. It's interesting. I'm not quite sure what I think you're doing, like a double exposure here. There's some kind of object here. What would be really neat if you had a woman's face kind of coming in here. So you had her nose here, and you did a woman's face and did like a double exposure. That'd be really neat. But what do I know? I don't know. I don't know anything. All right, so let's go down. Danielle, have I done Danielle? I think you're next, Danielle. You're next on The Price is Right. Come on down. Ooh, I see a chocolate. I like chocolate. There's blue. This is lovely. Very simple how it overlaps one but tucks under the other. The type choice is really nice. This is fun. This could totally be an Instagram post. This is nice too. I really like this. And then you have chocolate. I like how they kind of have it go around the circle here. I'm just reading some of your comments. The red reminds me of ads for Wordscape's app. Okay, so chocolate. Okay, there's chocolate. I love the sucker for chocolate. I like the kind of the rounded. Green. Green. Okay. Living coral. That's the color of the year, the Pantone color of the year. So I like your type choices. I know it's hard. I have a hard, these little thin strokes. I rarely use thin strokes on type because I feel like sometimes it could just be make something too busy, especially when you zoom out. You see those little strokes kind of pixelate a little bit. So I try to avoid thin strokes around type if possible. So that makes it a little bit challenging when you want to make a typeface pop out against a background. So that's why I use subtle drop shadows, or I find maybe a different um, color choice here. So you don't, just any way to kind of avoid, excuse me, the super thin lines. But I do like the color a lot. Red. There's red. Cool. I like the layered look. Okay, 4 more left. Christopher Allen. This was another great series, I believe. Let's go ahead and open it up. Yeah, this one's a fun one. Okay, so I love the use of textures here. They probably use the layering panel in Photoshop to really kind of, or layer styles panel to really add some effects. I like the overall composition with the woman here and the purple here. It adds one nice, concise focal point, which is what we're going for. Black and white, so it has kind of the reflection of the white in there. I would even maybe reverse this and do white like this, like it's reflected. That might look cool, huh? I don't know what you guys think. But you could, if I could spell it backwards or reflected, you know what I mean. Kind of reflect it, make it look like it's right there on that puddle where everything else is reflected. So you might as well reflect the type. And maybe make it clean. You know, I don't think you need the vertical lines. Okay, green, money. I think of money when I think of green. So that's kind of a really cute, clever kind of way to do that color. Cool gray, not just gray, but cool gray. I love it. So you have this kind of, some kind of texture here. I really like, I almost wish you could have cool gray here, maybe like right here, so that you could really see this cat and kind of these claw marks, these kind of overlay blue claw marks would be cool. So maybe just taking the type, maybe do cool gray, so that that face, you never want to cover up someone's face. I mean, in an artistic sense, you can do that, but you, when a graphic design standpoint, sometimes it's tough to overlay type on top of really important features of the face, like the eyes and the nose. You want to make sure those are clear. Oh, this is cool. That's really neat. I love it. What do you guys think of magenta? Yeah, look at that. That is so, I don't know what they did to make it, whether the photo was already like this. It looks like they used a duotone, perhaps some kind of duotone or a luminosity overlay or some kind of either a blending mode or a duotone or monotone. Well, duotone, maybe even a tritone. If you guys don't know how to do this, you can go to image mode and you can turn something grayscale, and then you have the ability to do duotones, which are pretty cool in this case. That is neat. Very, very cool. I just love it. Very artistic. I can put that on my wall. What do you think? Okay, so let me go ahead and close that one down. Red. Man, I just feel like she's getting sunburned with this photo. I worry she needs to put on some suntan lotion. But yeah, I kind of like that red. And then orange. Papa orange. Very nice, tight, zoomed in or tightly cropped photo. 3 left. Cato. Wow, there's a lot in this series. So we'll go through these kind of quickly because I want to have time for Q&A. That's beautiful. Look at this. So you have this nice script typeface right here. Very simple. It's not too large. It's not too small. It's in this nice, wonderful space, opportunity there. We don't have a lot going on. So simple, clean. That's probably my favorite in this series, I believe. So let me know what you think your favorite is. Okay, black. Oh, here's the whole series. Great. These are kind of the whole series put together. I like this orange. The orange one is really kind of popping out to me. So let me see if I can't spend a little bit more time with orange. So orange. Here's orange. I like that. Interesting. It's got some crystals or something. So really good use of blending modes and overlays. That's probably the most used tool during all these projects is blending modes and overlays. So being able to learn those and master that can really kind of expand your horizons when it comes to photo editing. Here's hot pink, black, jade. I like the use of textures there. Sorry I'm going so quickly. So yeah, there's all of them right there. So let me know what your favorite. I think turquoise is far beyond one of the stronger pieces of that. Yeah, I think things do look nice together. I just looking at Sean's comment. Oh, there's Neil's. Hi. And I think that's why I put mine together because you see the theme. I use the same typeface. I use Dido, and so you can kind of see them all come together when you kind of put them all together as a series. Okay, so let's go. We have two more left. Beth, I gotta sneeze. Gotta love live streaming. Phew! Whew, allergies. Okay, so oh, what a neat photo. Look at that. I wonder where they found this photo. That's beautiful. I love this photo. And I say beautiful a lot, sorry, but I'm just impressed. So, I don't know, this all must be a good pink too, but I guess the ladybug is red. Okay, orange, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful photo. Look at that. Just bam. Nice and clean. Just clean typeface. Just no comment, but that I like it. Oh, thank you. Thank you for blessing me. I had that sneeze there. So green, ooh, I love the textures here. If you move in here, you can kind of see a grittiness. I love having a grittiness sometimes because I think it adds organic life to somewhat boring images. So I think that looks great. Green is probably one of my favorites. Green is my favorite color, by the way. Look at these photo choices. I don't know where they found their photos, but look at that. It's kind of a star from the ocean, whatever you call them. Starfish. Yeah, I couldn't think of it for a second. But yeah, that's beautiful. And interesting how they cut off the P, but I can still tell it's purple. I get it. If I've seen looking at the series, I would get that that was a P. So I'm not as concerned that I would normally be with the P being cut off. Look at that striking eyeball right there. Look at that. That's nice. Stunning. Yellow. Red. Ooh, that's neat. Okay, so you're kind of playing off the circle and the subject matter, and you're playing off it in your typeface too. So that's really neat. It's what a graphic designer is one of the strong characteristics of a graphic designer is taking photography and extending it out with your design. Some element, whether it's a color or some kind of shape that you see in a photo and bringing that out in some other part of the design. Pink. I love these photo choices. Okay. I think we have one more person left. And go ahead and think about, let me just make sure I didn't skip anybody. I'd feel really bad if I skipped somebody. Okay, so one more. Go ahead and think of some, I'm going to do like a 5-minute quick Q&A, maybe 10 minutes because we're already at an hour. I was hoping to keep it to 45 minutes. But if you have some kind of Q&A or a few questions about freelancing, graphic design, in general, what's coming next in terms of classes, what do you want to learn, all that stuff, just feel free to go ahead and think about those questions and go ahead and post them. So this is the last one, and I like this one a lot because, see this reflection? The reflection is done nicely. And they kind of added the little kind of zigzag, maybe the liquefy tool, or they use some other kind of tool to kind of give it that jagged reflection. So I think this is just an excellent example of doing a great job in execution of the reflection and overall composition of the photo. So with emits, we are done. Yay. So real quickly, just kind of overview, I got that Adobe XD and UI UX Masterclass coming out on Udemy next week. I have, it's going to be released in bits and pieces on Skillshare. So just, if you follow me on Skillshare, just keep aware of kind of the new classes that come out. We're going to be able to walk through the entire process of how to do this project, the whys behind word design choices, and then how to actually execute the design and get this ready to be sent off to a developer to develop anything, a website, an app, anything in the digital space that requires UX, user experience, and user interface design. So that's my little spiel. I'd love a review. Please send me a review of any class you've taken. I love to see reviews. I love to see student reviews. So anyway, so back to kind of maybe some questions you guys had. Vas, I did yours in the very beginning, so you may have to wait till the video ends. I started with the reverse alphabetical order, so you should be first. So you just have to rewatch it. Yeah, everyone did such a great job and learned a lot. I'm just reading Samantha's post. I think so. I think everybody did a fabulous job. I think it's a great practice in typography skills and also kind of color and composition. It's kind of a practice in everything that's important in design, which is photos, typography, and layout. Those are the three cornerstones of design. So if you can master type, layout, and photos, you've got design. You got graphic design. So I'm just kind of reading and I dropped in late. Can't wait to look back. Okay. Yeah, me too. Yeah. So everyone did a fabulous job. I'm super excited that I had so many people participate. I mean, look at this. I think there was 27 or 28 projects that we reviewed. I mean, it's a lot. So we can just continue to grow that and have even more and more projects. I might have to divide it into 2 different live videos to review everybody. But I want to continue to review everybody's work because I think it's important to get, some sort of feedback no matter how small the project is. So if anybody has any, Neil's asked if I have an infographic lesson. I haven't, it's on the docket. I'm going to be working on it hopefully soon, but I'm getting this UX UI class launched. So I've been living in Adobe XD for probably a month. So I'm kind of ready to put Adobe XD to bed and take on some new projects like infographics. I definitely want to thinking about doing that logo design masterclass where I do logos in 10 different styles and show you how you could do the same logo in 10 different ways, or 10 totally different logos, but one's drawn, one's sketched, one's golden ratio, kind of showing you all the different ways you could do a logo design and somehow incorporate infographics somewhere and all that. So yeah, I got a busy couple months here with lots of different lessons planned. Okay, let's see if anybody else has any questions. I'm going to go ahead and end. Let me just see. Oh, here we go. Here's a question. I don't want to miss it. Okay, so Danielle, such a fun challenge. Do you also provide PMS, Pantone matching system colors for printing when you create a brand guide for clients? Most of the time, yes, but not in the beginning. Once I have a final approved branding project done, I'll do it then, but not when we're going back and forth about colors and logo. I'll wait till I'm sending them their final logo files, like vector files and things. I'll find Pantone colors at the end for them. And I usually do that. I open up a logo in Photoshop and I'm able to use the eyedropper tool to find the closest Pantone match. That's kind of how I do it. A little trick. I show that in a class, but I might do a separate lesson on that just if you're interested, seeing how I find the closest match PMS colors. Okay. Just make sure there's no more questions before I wrap it up. Can I do more shadowing? Oh, shadowing as in just doing kind of some work, like kind of working on client work and you shadow me, or actually shadowing in Photoshop? Just didn't know if that was a literal shadowing or kind of shadowing someone on the job. Okay. Oh, on shadowing. So you did mean on shadowing. What type of shadowing, like Photoshop or kind of in terms of photo composition? Yeah, I could probably do a lot more on shadowing. It's a good idea. Okay. Gotcha. Thanks. Oh, Final Cut. It's like Boss wondered if I edit on. I think that's Final Cut Pro or Premiere. I actually use something called ScreenFlow. This is ScreenFlow. It's a little video editing for Mac. It's pretty simple, but it helps me kind of do what I need to do. So it's interesting. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up if there's not any more questions. I really had fun, so please vote. I'm going to post a poll in like 2 days so we can figure out the next design challenge. I have no clue. We've done a lot of stuff. We've done website design, we've done logo, we've done branding, we've done a social media post, but it's been a while. So it'd be kind of neat to do another, maybe an Instagram post challenge, social media post challenge, or if you want to do something entirely different, we could do a poster design. I don't think we've done a poster design yet, or a t-shirt. Well, we did t-shirts, didn't we? So, I mean, there's a lot of different options of different things we could do. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end it. It's about an hour. I went a little bit over, but that's okay. But yeah, I'll put the poll out there. And lastly, just please review my classes. I love you guys. I'll let you know when the new classes release next week. And thank you so much for all your hard work you guys put into this project. I know you really kind of poured a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to do these. I did 15 of these myself, and it took a couple hours each one. So thank you for taking the time to practice and get better as a designer. This is how, I got to where I'm at, is I just stayed up till 2 o'clock just doing fun work. until I finally got the skills up and the confidence up to start charging and finding clients. But anyway, love you guys. Have a great day, and hopefully you learned a little bit today.